Hey, welcome to the Tale of the Tape. I'm your host, Will Bales, and with me today is Andrea Suarez. And first off, we have toys.
So Hexbugs was awesome and sent us some production samples. So these are actually the first actual production toys. They're molded. These are the real graphics, the real boxes. So I've actually had these since about 10 o'clock yesterday morning. I've been trying really hard to play cool. It's really hard to just not tear into this box. To be totally honest, I did open one of them. Just couldn't just have them sitting there and not do anything. So I did open this the little RC Witch Doctor toy.
Yeah, we played with it last night at the our viewing party.
Yeah, at the Funky Buddha Brewery. It was a huge hit. You know, everybody's watching out for their feet as we're driving it around. And
I'll have you know I only drove it off the table twice.
And to the quality of the robots, they did not break. The
little
pieces
I was actually very impressed. Yeah, I found the little pieces. They were like way off in the corner, but they held up really well. So I think we should open this because I'm dying.
Yeah.
I'm dying to open this.
So what we're going to do today is go ahead and unbox the arena set. As you can see here, we have the Clutch and Clash toys here on the right, and we have the little mini kind of Hot Wheels size cars. But what we're most excited about, of course, is the arena set. So he can get a closer look at it. It has the Witch Doctor RC toy, which of course is my favorite, and our longtime rival there, Tombstone. One of the best things about this arena, I think, is that it comes with working hammers. Yeah, the
hammers work. It can do it with little fingers.
That's gonna get dangerous.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be great.
So you can see here on the back, has some cool action shots. You can see there the assembly and all the parts that it brings. So yeah, and the little remote and how it works. So what do you say? We should tear into this thing?
Yeah, just open it.
All right.
I have a box cutter if we need it. I'm not taking any chances.
I'm gonna resist the temptation to just tear into it because it's so pretty.
Yeah, and it's very apparent that this is like production ready. Yeah. Because everything is zip tied down and with little clear rubber bands, so it's all nice and pretty. We opened it up just a tiny bit ahead of time to make sure that we could actually like get it open in time because it's really, it's ready to go.
So here you have the playing floor, the playing field, I guess. Oh. And it has those little pictures of the saws on there, the red and the blue squares, just like the real show. So just put that down. Here, I'll trade it with you. I'll get these out.
Yeah, you got that out?
Yeah.
All right, so, okay, some of these pieces, there's, like the actual BattleBox, there is an entire barrier around the whole thing. So there's these little sidewalls. And they clip into the, what is this, cardboard? Yeah, so it's like a cardboard floor.
Look at your typical board game material. Haha, there's Tombstone.
All right, so the corners like slide in. That's really awesome. Gotta be.
I can't believe we're holding these things. This is crazy.
I know. We have toys. There must be another set of stuff somewhere.
So you're seeing us actually put this together for the first time ever. This has never been opened before, so bear with us as we try to figure it out.
Never before seen. Or something.
So this is your little Tombstone. Comes with its little top plate, and as you guys probably know, it has parts that come off, so there's actual battle damage, and then you can put them back together and fight again. Yeah, there you go. Tombstone's there.
Oh wow. Okay. There's like, oh my.
I think the
Alright,
this is in backwards.
I might have to tear the box apart.
Do what you gotta do.
I'm doing what I gotta do.
So yeah, like Will said, all these pieces kind of slide together and then clip in.
Okay. Now I got
Is there another corner?
Yes, so the whole back wall is actually on here. So
Oh, I see, okay. Alright, now we go.
we can get this. So you have to get the corner.
So it also brings these plastic protectors to put around the side of the arena, kind of like and you see at hockey games, just in case it gets too intense and parts start flying. Kind of keep your game contained to the
This is a very
arena.
intense game that everyone's going to be playing, and I'm going to play forever.
Well, you know, the first thing we're going to do is buy enough toys so we can have a rumble in there.
Well, yeah. So do you know when roughly they're gonna like release these to the public?
The only thing I've heard is fall.
Okay.
But considering that these are already the production samples, I mean, I'm guessing they're
building up stock.
Yeah, I've actually been talking to Jason over at Hexbug, which is one of the engineers who's been working on these. And he says they've already spent a few weeks just doing testing on the toys. So they're, doing battery testing, damage testing. So
and like I said before, they can get driven off a table a couple times with no issues. Which honestly is probably the most damage they'll ever see in a real life scenario. But the fact that they can hold up is something to be commended.
I think it's pretty close. We probably don't need to put all the barriers on there.
Do we need our own batteries, or do they come
They
with
actually
batteries?
come with batteries.
Ooh, are they rechargeable, or are they, like, what's the deal with these?
They came with AAA batteries. I think there's actually 3 of them in there.
Okay.
So I'll just play with it while you finish building the arena for me.
Oh no!
Oh, we put it together wrong. The hammers are on the same side. Whatever, it's close enough.
No, it's fine, because now we can play.
We can play. Oh, come on. Well, we don't need protective barriers. Let's
Okay, fine.
live on the edge here.
Alright.
So,
Figure out how
if you
to
grab
show
one
them.
of those little remotes, you could be Tombstone.
Okay. So, alright, remove, and, alright, turn Tombstone on. Oh, okay, the back panels on Tombstone come off, and what, do we know where the frequency is on these?
Well, the Witch Doctor toy should work, so I think if you put it on 2, that one should work.
Oh god, okay. Oh, they're both on
they're
one.
interfering.
They're both on one.
Maybe just click it again, turn it off and on. This is why you read the instruction, kids.
Probably.
We're just going to try to figure it out.
Okay. Maybe. Nope, they're both going. I think you need to use this one. Because that one controls the thing. How do we do this? Alright. Here. I'll take this one.
How many engineers does it take to figure this out?
More than 2. Apparently.
Alright, where's your remote? Try it.
Maybe all Witch Doctors are on the same channel. Is that possible?
Alright, well, we can just leave Tombstones there and I'll just beat up on it. How's that?
What?
So the weapons are actually pretty powerful, and I have to say the accuracy on these things is crazy.
Yeah,
Our paint
the
job on
old
skull-
BattleBots toys were really hard to control. They were fun, but they were really hard to control. And it seems like these are way better.
So if you actually put your finger on the weapon, it does stop. It doesn't hurt you. But it has enough that, at least I hit your phone yesterday at the viewing party, and it gave it a pretty good pop.
Alright, Witch Doctor versus Witch Doctor. It's going down right now. You trying to rip my fingers off or something? Okay.
I'll stop. It's just as you're done.
Alright, so let's get 2 Witch Doctors versus 1 Tombstone. Because that's fair.
This is like what we've always wanted to do.
Yeah, okay. Alright, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great. Oh man, I'm so winning. Oh shoot, that was not good. All of a sudden I'm not winning. Okay.
It's so much fun to go after Tombstone. I can't hit Witch Doctor.
Alright.
Ah!
Wow,
I was
these like
Tombstone.
actually work. Okay,
They're
so
really
How
fun.
well they drive?
alright, so I'm just gonna say this. I am 23 years old, and this is the most fun with the toy I've had probably since the last BattleBots toy.
Yeah.
They're so much fun.
I
They're
think they're
honestly,
more fun.
they remind me more of little combat robots than toys.
Yeah.
They did a really
that's
good job.
exactly what they are. Woo.
I mean, just look at it. Well, stuff's flying everywhere. Okay, I understand why there's a barrier now.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Kids, use the barrier.
Maybe get you under the hammer. Yeah! Oh, this is so good!
Alright, I think we can play forever, but...
Okay,
but maybe we should start the show.
we can't play forever. We haven't showed.
Alright.
Okay, so first impressions. These things are awesome.
They're really cool.
And I think It's what, 9:15 now?
Yeah.
I can pretty much account for the next 4 hours of my
Yeah,
life.
I mean, just wait till we have this little Bronco one that flips them all. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
They
So,
made they had a prototype of a Bronco remote
RC
control
toy, yeah.
one,
Yeah, yeah.
and although they're not releasing it right now, maybe in the future we'll actually see that, and hopefully some other robots. I personally want a HyperShock toy with a rake. See, everyone gets it now. I was trying so hard not to say anything about the rake, and now I finally can.
So yeah, just keep watching both our Facebook pages. We'll keep doing reviews of each individual toy. There's definitely too many to do now. It would take over the whole show. So we want to give it
it's going to be 2
the
hours
time
of
they deserve.
screwing
Yeah.
around. It's going to be awesome.
So keep watching. We'll spend the next few weeks just showing off all the details, and we can't wait. We're so excited for these.
Yeah. But on to the fights. We should do some fights. So which are we going to do first, Paul?
I don't know. Are we calling Jim?
You want to call Jim first?
Let's call Jim first.
Let's call Jim. All right. We're going to call Jim Smitowski. And no, I don't want to do that.
I'm good to clear the table, Paul.
Sure.
I'll go to the other cam.
Hello.
Jim!
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So, I bet you're really happy that you actually won a fight on BattleBots with Nightmare.
Yay! Nightmare won a fight. It wasn't the prettiest, but hey, I'll take the win. It was great.
Well, as far as robots to have to fight against goes, fighting against Icewave is a pretty tall order. Well, what was your thought process going into that fight?
Oh my gosh! Well, from the moment they announced it was going to be Nightmare versus Icewave, I mean, the whole crowd was all the builders pretty much made the same sound,
Yeah.
including us. We were like, oh! We all pictured what was going to happen: this big horizontal spinner versus a big vertical spinner. Oh my goodness! We knew it was going to be crazy. So
I had visions of old Son of Waiachi fight in my head. Of just wheels going everywhere and
yeah, that's pretty much what I envisioned too. But the one thing that people fail to remember on that fight is that Son of Waiachi at that time was a walker, defined as a walker, and so he had an extra like 100 pounds on top. So he was almost a super heavyweight robot at that point. So yeah, his hit was devastating and threw Nightmare completely across the other side of the arena.
So, going into this fight against Icewave, you're obviously scared of horizontal spinners. I think at some capacity, all horizontal spinners are scared of vertical spinners and vice versa.
Yeah, it definitely goes both ways.
Anytime you put that much energy up against each other, it's going to be explosive. We knew both sides. It was going to be crazy. So all I knew is that I could spin up a lot faster than he could, so I wanted to get across the arena and get him as quickly as possible. So, and it worked. It worked for the first hit. I got across there. It didn't seem to really slow Icewave down, though. So, as you saw from the hit, though, he was spinning it fast enough that it actually deflected Nightmare's disc kind of at an angle. And what happened is the Nightmare's own tooth came around, and I hit my own frame from the top down. And that's what did most of the damage in the fight. It deflected the frame so much that the disc was now so low to the ground it was hitting the floor of the arena.
Is that why you spent, after that fight, like the next 24 hours trying to straighten your frame?
You bet. That's exactly it. There's a big divot in the side of Nightmare's frame now because of that.
Wow.
We ended up getting it bent out. I think they kicked us out of the pit at 2 a.m. And when I left that night, there was no guts in Nightmare. You see in that picture, that's what Nightmare looked like at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But you look so happy.
Yeah.
We didn't get it back together until a couple hours in the next day after they opened the door for us. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got it up and running again for the next fight, and you'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, and you took some pretty big chunks out of the floor there. There's one.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of chunks. There was one piece I posted it on my website there. It just curled up the floor, and the crew bots ended up not being able to fix it, so they cut it off the piece and they put it on a lanyard and gave it to my wife Erica. She's got it as a necklace.
Yeah,
now.
I saw Erica's picture
Souvenir.
today walking around. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm personally really happy to see how wide was that gash? I mean, obviously it was the thickness of the blade, but like, was that 6 inches, 8 inches?
Oh, how long was it?
Yeah,
it was
long?
easily 8 inches of curled up steel.
Big.
And it wasn't the only one. That was just the biggest one. That was the first impact, and then because I kept on spinning around, there were several other smaller gashes. It just goes thump, 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 thump.
Wow. That is
and that
awesome.
That ended up because of all those stalls, the speed controllers just couldn't handle it. And you see later on in the video when the upload that they put up this morning, that you see a puff of smoke, and that's my speed controller going up because of all the stalling.
Wow.
So at that point, Icewave had already stopped moving, but his blade was still spinning full speed. And I just, I'm like, I know my weapon's out. His weapon's still going, but he's not moving. Hey, I'm moving. I'm not going to risk going into him again.
Yeah,
so I just backed into my square and let him get counted out. It's not a pretty way to go, but at that point in the game, I'll take it.
Yeah, and there was plenty of damage on both sides that I don't think anyone thinks any less of you for taking the win.
I don't know if Icewave even took any damage. I definitely didn't hit his main body, but hopefully he's got some sort of a little ding in his blade for after that. But
I was hoping you were going to rip the blue shell off the top.
I was really hoping for that, man. In this previous fight against Sub-Zero, I guess as the blade stopped spinning, that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping I was going to be able to kill his engine and pop the top off of that thing. That would have
been awesome.
That would have been really awesome.
Well, they ended up having receiver issues. They were having receiver issues like the entire event. And
I guess so. Yeah, that's what they tell me.
Yeah, so they finally got it working again a couple seconds after the countout. I remember
feed me. That's great.
Yeah, there are a couple of really confusing fights at this event where order of operations kind of went awry.
Yeah, I know they had several issues, and other teams also were saying things about different brands of receivers. I think they were using Spectrum, and they switched over to something else. We use Spectrum, and have always used Spectrum, and our robots never had any issues.
We actually switched over to Spectrum. We bought it from Jim at the event.
Kind of the robot gods. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's robot luck. Like, we were using Spectrum totally fine. I went over and was trying to help Mark and Icewave try to figure out what their demons were, and we couldn't figure it out. We tried everything. We tried all the different little fail-safe things, all the different settings, and it was working for us and not for them. And in fact, the more frustrating thing is it was working on one of their transmitters, but not the other one.
Oh yeah, there's crazy voodoo stuff. You never know what could be going on.
Hey, don't blame us.
Well, thanks for calling in. That was a heck of a fight.
It was great. It was under 40 seconds, so unfortunately they didn't get to put the whole fight up on the show. But I'm really glad that BattleBots posted it real quick.
Yeah.
If you go to the BattleBots YouTube page, you can see the full fight.
Yes,
it's great. Yeah, it's two giant scary weapons spinning. Do we have some questions?
Yeah, 2-1. If you could pick 2 other bots from this season to do a rumble, kind of like the way Witch Doctor was last year, which robots would you want? And the second one is him versus Rex. How do you think that would go?
Nightmare versus Rex. What do you think, Jim?
And until he puts on wheels, I definitely can say that I could outmaneuver him and get behind him. But I think if he was to go with wheels, then it would be a very interesting lineup and see who can get at the other robot side or back first.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that would be explosive one way or the other.
Yeah, Rex can do some damage.
I think we're all terrified of Rex.
Can.
Yeah. It's funny because people discount Rex because it can't walk. It tries very hard, but it's so hard to control. You're right. If it did have wheels on it, if they just went away with the walking mechanism, they'd be really scary.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going for the cool factor, and he wins in my book. I love that.
Yeah.
But it's not something that's going to win, or at least go farther in the tournament.
Yeah.
But it definitely is way cool.
Then question 2 is, if you had to do another Rumble, kind of like you did last season with Witch Doctor and Overhaul, which 2 other robots would you like to fight?
Well, the funny thing is, after later on in the tournament, we actually had arranged to do a Rumble because they were looking for some volunteers, and we had Creepy Crawlies and Mecha Tentamushi lined up with Nightmare. We were going to do it, and the producers, they were really pushing it, but there was other teams that were ahead of us. I wish they could just do a whole day or 2 worth of Rumbles, because everybody wants to get in and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have been a good fight. Anything that I can just show off Nightmare tearing stuff up would be great.
I agree. I want to see more of Nightmare tearing stuff up.
Yeah.
We all do.
So cool. Well, thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right. Well, we hope that you keep going on. Who's your next fight against?
Going up against Beta.
Beta. Ooh.
That's going to
Yep,
be good.
should be a couple weeks depending on how they push the episodes around. But yeah, going up against Beta.
It should be good.
A
All
big
right.
hammer.
All right. Well, we'll have to keep an eye out for that fight. It's a doozy.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Thanks again, Jim.
All right, thanks for having this.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
I love Nightmare.
Yeah,
I'm just so happy it's working.
When we found out at the event they were going to fight Icewave, we're longtime friends with both teams, and we were just rooting for both of them, and we knew it was going to just explode,
Something was
It's going to be bad, and it's going to be the best fight ever.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So, which fight should we do next? I know which fight comes up. Let's just do first. Let's go Beta, now that we segue perfectly into Beta. So, Beta versus Overhaul. Do we have it?
We have it. Give him a second.
Yeah, Beta versus Overhaul is a perfect example of what a complicated robot can do when everything's going right.
Yeah.
Beta has had historically bad luck. Like last year, they showed up and didn't have all their parts because some of it got lost by the airline that they were on. They were at the original BattleBots, but couldn't pass inspection or weren't allowed to compete. So seeing Beta working, seeing it work against Lucky was awesome. And I'm very glad that it was working against Lucky. But I think there were a lot of people who thought, they missed an opportunity here or there trying to get a hit in. And this fight is the total opposite. They get every single, it's perfect. And
Beta also has a lot of style. Flips over, gets right back. It's so different than anything we've seen.
It's a very active robot. For such a low slung thing, when that hammer goes, it just did. It does these weird acrobatic formations, which are awesome.
And he's trying to outdrive Charles here from Overhaul.
Yeah.
Who not only is he a good driver, but he's actually has brushless drive in this version of the robot.
Yeah, Charles, his brushless drive is supposed to be geared for 16 or 18 miles an hour. It's serious stuff. Charles actually was having some drivetrain issues and some friction issues, and it becomes pretty apparent because you could just see him just sliding all over the box.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't know if one's come out yet, but I think both of the front wheels. Overhaul is actually 6-wheel drive. He had very small little rollers under the pontoons in the front, but those both came out in this fight, and Beta just keeps wailing on him.
Yeah, Beta is just relentless. Doesn't give him any time to kind of regroup, figure out what's going on.
Totally on the offensive the entire time. I mean, look at Charles. I mean, Charles is doing a really good job of driving, but even you can just see he has no true control of where he's going. He's just having a really tough time.
Well, he's stuck in a position where he's reacting to Beta. He can't control the match.
Yeah. You can see off in the corner there was a black cylinder. That was one of the front wheels of Overhaul already gone. It's, yeah.
They want to see the dance. So.
They want to see the dance. Yeah, well, the dance is coming up. It's an awesome dance. Right here is right about when Beta just takes it out. You can see the wheel there. Beta actually manages to hit the power switch on top of Overhaul.
Which was a custom power switch. It was
Yeah,
actually 3D
yeah,
printed.
right there. Boom.
There it is. You can see it right. They just
Shattered.
went right over it.
It was a heck of a hit. it was perfect by Beta. It was lucky, I'm sure, at some capacity. But it was just the right hit, and it killed the drivetrain. Charles made these custom, really nice, well done switches on his Mark IV printer, and the dance, the awesome dance.
I think he's gonna challenge Warhead
to a dance off, like a break dance off.
Yeah,
deserved.
that's the new Rumble,
Yeah, that's the new Rumble. Yeah, so there's the damage. You can see the wheel off in the left hand corner, and the giant black pill hammer just wrecking things. The bye power. That's actually the top cover. I want to say it was a little piece of titanium, but that's the top cover of the switches. And Charles just didn't have enough real estate inside the bot because he had actually put in a little bit of extra cushioning for batteries and stuff, and he had to. I don't know if this had an effect on it, but he had to switch to a different speed controller like last minute. So, there wasn't any room for the switch, and where are you going to put it?
Well,
put it in a pretty well protected spot.
For season 1, I think he would have never had a problem. But this season, and HyperShock had the same problem that Witch Doctor had and that Overhaul has, where we don't have a lot of armor on the top.
Yeah.
Because traditionally, your top armor just has to be able to take the arena hazards, and that's it.
Right. Yeah.
But this
top
is
armor
a different game now. Yeah.
With hammer bots and real axes and saws, it's a real issue now. I mean, look at the ears on Overhaul. I mean, one of them got really messed up.
Yeah.
And that is a sad looking robot.
That's just personal there.
That's a sad
did
robot.
not have to go there.
Yeah.
But I wonder now for season 3 if this kind of robot's really still going to be as effective once people catch up and start armoring their robots differently.
I think that Overhaul, in principle, it was really well built. Did you ever get a chance to look at it? It was all it was well machined. It was well designed. He had some issues with the lead screw. I think it was actually the ball screw on the top clamping thing. And I think in that fight, what happened was B just pounded the crap out of it until it stopped working.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning too that Overhaul was 100% redesigned, new robot,
brand
new
spanking
team.
new. Yeah.
So in a sense, they kind of gave up their advantage of having been a season 1 team because they, except for Charles, they almost started from scratch.
Yeah. So I have high hopes for Overhaul. I think it needs some tweaks and some redesigning. Maybe there's some, especially against a robot like Beta, those pontoons you don't need. Those were big, heavy-duty AR plate, super strong, durable for spinners. But I think it's at the point where you can't just have one configuration of a robot.
Yeah.
You have to have modular armor like Witch Doctor does. You have to have a different top plate for hammers now. You have to have a different wedge front plow for spinners. Because there's not enough weight to be able to have a proper weapon and the armor that you need for any given robot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pontoons. You talking about the black ones?
For record, the pontoons that I'm talking about are the front black wedges on Overhaul. He called those the pontoons. They're 3/16 AR 450, something like that. So they're pretty heavy duty. All the armor plating on HyperShock was also 3/16, so it's up to snuff. But up against Beta, you don't really need it. It could have been on the top protecting the top
and part
switch.
of that, Ghost Raptor did a lot of that last year. It's just adapting for their match. It's just even if you didn't plan for it.
Yeah, if you don't adapt now, you're.
I mean, we started with 60 different robots.
Yeah.
It's impossible to design for 60 different types of robots.
Yeah. Do we have any questions?
No, not really.
All right.
Flat question.
I think we should skip this and do this last. We should go to the Chomp versus Captain Shredderator fight.
I thought this was the best intro of any fight so far.
Oh yeah, the trash talking. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think Brian and Zoe really enjoy each other, but they also enjoy antagonizing each other.
I think they must be the most opposite personalities in this event.
Yeah. So going into this, I was actually impressed how well Chomp has been holding up in the event because of how they performed last year. looking at it at the original design, to me, it looked like it was the epitome of what an engineer would design and a robot builder wouldn't, because it was beautiful and everything was optimized and it was just like what you'd want a robot to be, but it couldn't hold up to big scary spinners. It was up against Icewave and got shredded.
Well,
so seeing it up against Shredderator, Captain Shredderator, and not being demolished was pretty
You never
cool.
tell when it hits. The fire always messes with that.
Oh, well, yeah. But
last season was Zoe's first time in BattleBots, and I think how much she changed from last season to this season even. I mean, there's a lot going on in Chomp that I don't think they even mentioned in the show. It's got autonomy for.
Yeah, Chomp was the most sophisticated robot at the event.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mechanically for sure, but even electrically, they had automatic tracking with LiDAR on the front, so they could keep the robot pointed at their opponent.
So it's just a series of radar. So it's actually sensing how far Captain Shredderator is, and whenever it gets right into the path of the hammer, it'll just automatically swing that hammer.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I think Brian actually got a little too preoccupied with that. You could see him; he's kind of trying to fake out, the automatic system instead of just going in there and fighting like he would normally fight. So he looks a little conservative to me.
So we just saw that Shredderator died for a second, and what ended up happening, he died again. What ended up happening is Chomp actually hit through the top panels in Shredderator, which are plastic, and because they're plastic, the hammer on Chomp just pounded right through him, and there was a big main wire right under one of those panels, and it cut it right in half. It chopped it right in half. And so when Chomp would go back and hit it again or nudge it, it would short out on the shell of Shredderator, and so it would turn back on.
We were yelling in the stands because he was just, it's off. You hit it, it's on. It's
and
off,
the lights,
it's on.
And you can see with the lights that it's actually on.
Yeah.
Or off. And so all of a sudden it was going on and off. And we don't have a picture of it, but Brian showed us a couple weeks ago at a different event that, it was just sitting right there, and it would jostle a little bit, and all of a sudden it was back to life, and then it would jostle again, and it was dead. So really good shot by Chomp, and that's what you got to do.
Again, proving that these hammer bots are, really changing. Brian's going to build something different. He's going to have to armor that up, use the weight somehow.
Yeah, well, the original theory was you can get away with thin, light armor just to kind of keep detritus out on the top, and now you can't. I think that for Season 3, we're going to see a different type of robot. Everything's going to have to change because of Chomp and because of Beta. You can't have weak top armor anymore, and it's going to be good because, you're right. It'll be great. It'll change how people allocate their weight. It'll be really cool. So should we go to the highlights? I think we should, or no, we need to do Mega Tento and Stinger.
There is a lot of internet fury over this one.
You guys are so butthurt about this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Mega Tento and Stinger, the two bug bots, which they played up. Going into this, I know that everyone was mad that Tento got a wild card. And they're it doesn't deserve it. It's not good. They can't win a fight. It lost to Poison Arrow. Blah 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 blah. And then it goes against Stinger.
I think people are learning better than to try to predict any outcomes. It has all gone out the window
Everyone's
this
brackets
season.
are totally out the window.
Yeah.
Matt Maxim is revered as one of the best, if not the best, driver in BattleBots and just in combat robotics. He's been
definitely
driving Stinger / Sewer Snake for years now, and he's so good at it. And he's aggressive and persistent, and even if he takes a little bit of damage here or there, he's got 6 wheels, so who cares, right?
And he has fire, which we're all dying to see.
And then he had a little mini bot
with more fire.
Yeah, which is actually surprisingly full of fire. It got run over a couple times in this fight.
I think it weighed less than 5 pounds. I mean, it was
small.
tiny.
It was really small.
It was aluminum foil.
It was an aluminum foil.
It was almost the thickness of aluminum foil.
Yeah, it was really thin. All 3 of the 4 wheels come off in this fight. off the little one, and it gets stuck between Stinger and Mega Tento in like this push off, and gets run over a couple times. I feel bad for the person who built it because Matt and Lisa were not kind to it.
And I love this part here because you see the fire right under Mega Tento, which I was dying to see. And you know what? Mega Tento's actually fire resistant to a certain extent.
I was amazed. I figured, it's plastic and it's a flamethrower. Put 2 and 2 together and now you have a melted shell. But no.
There you have it.
And there it is again. That little mini bot with way more fire than it should. Here it goes. Yeah, there was.
It's
run
gone.
over.
It's gone.
I think it was just squished.
Fun fact: that thing was, we're next to Matt. I asked about it. He basically said that it was like designed as more of a little bomb, so that he could get next to the robot. Because you're not allowed to shoot fire at the wall. So if Stinger's wedging somebody against the wall, he's not allowed to use the fire. So he had this, so it could come parallel to the wall to shoot fire parallel, which is legal. And he built it so light because he wanted it to blow up. To be a distraction and to blow up.
That's awesome. Well, it didn't actually blow up, but it certainly dished out a lot of fire. It was, I mean, look at that. So this went to the full 3 minutes, and, admittedly, I'm not sure who I would have voted for.
I agree with the judge's decision.
I think I agree with it. In terms of damage, Mega Tento did all the damage. There's a wheel off of
that's
Stinger.
big. Yeah.
Right there. It was. I talked to the Maxims. It turns out that that's a titanium axle. Normally it's steel, and so it snapped, and that was the end of that one.
And the mini
so that was a wheel. The mini bot
was destroyed.
All the wheels on the mini bot
it was just gone.
So in terms of damage, Mega Tento got all the damage.
Yeah.
On aggression, they were both aggressive.
Right.
And strategy,
I think it was tied and came down to
toss-up.
Damage.
I think it came down to damage here. I think you're right. But, it was...
And Stinger had a lot of trouble lifting Mega Tento. I think they were just so big.
Yeah.
So maybe if they were able to get some lifts and kind of, do some damage that way, it would have gone the other way.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It was a controversial match, to say the least. When people found out... I remember I was in the pits when this fight happened. And when people found out that Matt lost this early, basically due to driving, people's brains exploded. Myself included. I was shocked.
Well, like you said, Matt's known for being a great driver, but I think what a lot of people don't know, and maybe because the last time Lisa competed in the old days, she was a kid. Yeah. But she's really a great driver. Yeah.
Well, she's been practicing the majority of her life.
Yeah.
She's actually been competing longer than most people have been competing. Because she was there at the original Robot Wars before BattleBots ever existed. The original 95 Robot Wars. So she's been building as long as anyone else, which is impressive. And
it shows.
Yeah, and the one thing I really like that Lisa does is that she builds things that she wants to build. Clearly. Plan X maybe wasn't the most effective robot, but it was different, and she was trying to think out of the box. Mega Tentomushi was outside of the box. It's a fan favorite.
Lisa.
Yeah, and especially now that it's a TV show, and and everyone's trying to diversify and make a name for themselves. What's more unique than the Ladybug robot? Everyone knows the Ladybug robot, whether you like it or not. You know it. And
well, she's proving that it can keep up even in the states
and that's the best part. So
she added that drum to it. That made a huge difference.
Yeah, and putting it on the back was a good move. Against Poison Arrow, it was actually under the shell, and I think there were two issues. One, the judges couldn't see if it was actually working.
That's huge.
Which I think worked against her.
Yeah.
And two, even if you did get a couple good hits, there was other stuff that it was getting in the way, and you were getting snagged on the other underbelly stuff.
Well, actually, putting it on the back actually changes her weight distribution because that drum is really heavy.
Oh, yeah.
So it gives her better traction, which I think we saw in her driving.
Yeah, because she was actually, there were a couple times where she was pushing, which was impressive because it's Stinger and it's Matt. And
so, yeah, she said a big part of that was just having that weight in the back, offsetting the weight of the Ladybug.
Well, she deserved it. She won.
Yeah.
Take that, Internet. Any questions?
They're saving all the questions for the rake.
Oh. Well, I want to run through the highlights first. Do we have which highlights do we have?
Lockjaw?
Yeah, Brutus Lockjaw. I didn't know what to expect. They took the guns off first off, so what the hell?
Yeah.
Your whole thing is guns.
That's
Why?
Like after you have your intros with the rake, you just decide not to use the rake.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But
So-
it's rematch number 3 with Donald now. I think we're at.
Oh yeah, this is match
Season
number
1,
3 of
yeah.
Adam versus Donald, and
Donald has fought no one else. Oh no, he fought Yeti.
yeah,
Yeti and Adam. That's the only
Yeah.
people he's fought on BattleBots so far.
and this is I guess that's it again. That was a tough match for. I'll have to go back to the thing. That was a tough match for Donald because he's trying to do what would normally be effective, but as we've seen in the last couple episodes, wedging people to death isn't a tactic anymore. It's not what's going to work. If you do that and let it go to the judges, you will lose. And I think that's just another example because both of them were, I guess, equally aggressive. I would argue that Donald had more of the control with Lockjaw, but no real attempt to use the weapon at all.
I was so surprised because that's, at least from what I know of Donald, that's not his style at all to just try to go with the wedge and take the win.
Yeah.
But
Well, when at some point the disc on Brutus did go out,
yeah.
and he at that point he did swing around and start chomping on him, and that's it's good. That's a good start. But I think he should have been doing that the whole fight.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, and even though you could argue, well, Brutus lost their weapon, at least they were using it.
Yeah.
And that certainly goes into the aggression of being willing to use your weapon. And
Well, now Brutus has the pleasure of fighting our buddy Tombstone next round.
So it's winning that fight's a double-edged sword. So
Yeah,
have fun
really.
with that, Brutus. You should put the guns on next time. Next fight, Ringmaster versus Bite Force. So we've seen.
That's not working.
Yeah, well, we can just briefly talk about it. So, Bite Force versus Ringmaster. If you haven't seen the fight, go to YouTube and just watch the full fight. It's actually a pretty good one. Bite Force, right out the gate, gets a couple of good hits on Ringmaster. Throws him pretty far, actually.
I mean, this has to be the worst matchup for Ringmaster.
Yeah.
I'd say their biggest weakness is going to be a strong vertical spinner.
Well, and I remember before the event when we saw the beautiful photos of Ringmaster, all of our teams were secretly hoping to go up against Ringmaster because we know that with a good strong front plow and a vertical spinner, that's how you beat that.
Well, I'm sure they were thinking, 60 robots, what are the chances I'm going to go up against the 6 or 7 drums that are in the tournament?
Yeah, I think it was
This is
1 in 10.
BattleBots 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a big old gash, big old dent in the thing. And I felt so bad for Hal and Hannah because they put so much effort into that, and it was such a beautiful robot. You should go to Facebook and look at all the photos because it's beautiful. It is a breathtaking robot. Just the build photos and how they went about it, it was machining porn. It was just amazing. So seeing it destroyed and really damaged, that stopped the ring.
Yeah.
It was kind of heartbreaking.
And you can see why, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All of a sudden, your main ring gear is off by like 3/4 of an inch. Clunk. So, oh well. Not much you can do about it. Bite Force also had some motor issues in that fight. I don't know what it was. I haven't talked to Paul.
Yeah, I don't know what it was either, but Paul, again, completely redesigned his robot, so he's bringing a brand new robot.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever built a vertical spinner.
He's never built a vertical spinner. He was really good with horizontal spinners in the past. In fact, his last robot before Bite Force Brutality won a unaired season of BattleBots in 2009.
So Brutality was a overhead bar,
terrifying
so similar
robot.
to Icewave, but without the engine on the top.
Yeah, so super sleek, super low to the ground, super durable. And so I assumed that he was just bringing Brutality because he was hinting that he was going to be building something new, building something different.
Secretive.
And I like that he changed courses and was willing to try something new, but clearly he had some issues with those big motors.
Yeah.
So He'll figure it out. And then let's see. What was our last fight?
Cobalt and
Cobalt.
Bombshell.
Oh, this is so good. Okay. Mike Jeffries was teasing this one weapon that was going to change the game, and that was super exciting, and he wouldn't tell me what it was until about a week before the event. And it's awesome. That whole
There
thing.
it is, yep.
He just started taking chunks out of the wheels. It was perfect. That robot, the whole thing is on a 4-bar, and so you can change the ride height of that bar from right on the ground to 3 or 4 inches up in the air. It's a little wobbly. It's really out there, and they had to add some extra little sticks to make sure that they don't fall over. But it means that he can aim for the chain. He can aim for the wheels. He can aim for the power switch if you wanted.
And Cobalt really played right into that because they started the match backwards and tried to wedge him. So
Right.
it was perfect for Mike Jeffries.
It was a beautiful job. And
Fun fact: Mike Jeffries told me he was aiming for the chain.
yeah, I figured he was aiming for the chain, just couldn't get at it.
This worked
like
much
he
better.
tried to set the height up for the chain and had the wrong height.
Oh, well, there you go.
It worked out perfectly. Hit the wheels.
Yeah, perfect. So, but this is a perfect example of minimal damage required to win a fight. It was clever tactics from Bombshell. All you had to do was take out the tires, and that's what,
Yeah.
$50 in damage if you go the retail route and you get 2 brand new tires.
It was creative.
It was creative. So awesome, Bombshell. I can't wait to see what attachment you guys use next. It's a shame to see Cobalt go, but
Yeah.
it was well.
As far, they have an asymmetric bar that they're running, and it's just really cool looking.
Yeah.
That thing is
Yeah.
serious.
I have a feeling we'll see him back next year.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
that was a seriously scary robot. I was
Yeah.
nervous about it. So, we put this off as long as
Is it
possible.
time? I think it's time.
All right. The rake. It's time for the rake.
We've seen it on every episode of the Tale of the Tape. It's been with us.
Yeah, so some of you were clever and actually noticed it in the back, just kind of sitting on the filing cabinet behind me.
Will actually takes it with him everywhere he goes.
Yeah. So that's the rake. Let's just watch the first couple.
There's no words.
Yeah, let's just watch the first couple seconds. I can't talk and watch this video at the same time.
Don't worry, we have that done for you.
Yeah, Witch Doctor actually got a reaction video out of me and Tyler yesterday from the viewing party. It was yes. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, serious gyro dance there, by the way.
Yeah. You were really close to getting flipped over.
Oh yeah, I was terrified when it happened. I was like, oh god. Woo!
That's just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Not only do you hit it down with the rake, but it goes up in a puff of smoke.
It was so good. So, okay, a bit of backstory while we watch this on the rake. We knew going into this that a whole bunch of people were making drones, and we thought that was the stupidest thing ever. So we're like, you know what? We're gonna make like a broom. We're gonna put a broomstick on this thing, and it's gonna be awesome. And that was kind of the running joke in the builders community. We'll just put a broomstick on it. And
Will Splatter put a fishing rod on it?
yeah, Splatter did put a fishing rod against Warrior Clan, and it fell off pretty quickly.
Tento had the antennas.
And Tento had the antennas against Poison Arrow. So people did have some tactics for deterring them. I think we're the only people that actively try to swat one out of the sky.
Oh, it was active, all right.
So, yeah, drifting donuts around Warrior Clan, awesome. So, we were going to use a broom, and I wanted to use like an old school like witch's broom with the straw, so we could like have the fire drone set it on fire, and then hit him out of the sky with it. But that was organic material, so they said no. So we went and got this $14.97 rake from Home Depot.
Worth every penny. I think.
Worth every penny. Actually replaced the wooden stick with an aluminum stick. It was 6 feet. So by the time it was actually mounted to the robot, it was the better part of 8 feet up in the air. So it was actually way up there.
Well, they actually
swinging
don't
around.
play your winner's interview at the end of this, but I think you spent the whole interview complaining about the organic materials rule. Like, can you believe they didn't let us use organic materials? You were so bitter even after it worked.
Wow, I'm sorry. So we decided, you know what, we're gonna use a rake, and here was us just laughing our butts off because we think it's hilarious. One of the things that is weird with BattleBots is that when you're fighting, you're sleep deprived, you're freaking out, everyone's screaming, and all you're focused on is trying to not die. And so between all that and the adrenaline, you don't really remember the fight.
No, you never remember the fight.
So this was in many ways, aside from the fact that it was beautifully edited, this is basically the first time for us to watch that fight, and so it was beautiful. We're so glad that the rake worked.
So was it all you ever hoped it would be?
It was everything and more. Man, we went into that thinking, this could go one of two ways. It could really work, or it could totally backfire and we'll be the laughing stock. Yeah, there's the rake. We could totally be the laughing stock of BattleBots because we used a rake and it backfired and it got stuck on something, or it got entangled in Warrior Clan. That was a concern. One of the little tines maybe got stuck in there. But you know what?
It was worth it.
It was totally worth it. It was beautiful. We actually, Warrior Clan guys, Watchy guys, were actually kind enough to give us the dragon. You need to actually go look back at some of those photos of the dragon because it is really well built.
I think it's
okay. That's unfair. That's not nice. Go back to look at a pre-rakening photo and actually look at it because it's really well built. They did some really clever things. You could really tell that they are masters of manufacturing because their whole frame was basically sheet metal, and they had made these tubes out of sheet metal bent in multiple sections and riveted together. It was.
And look at the size of it. I mean, it was probably really, at least twice the size of most of the drones that were there.
Yeah, it was a really big robot. So, luckily it was the right size for a rake.
Rake to drone.
So, So I'm really happy that all worked.
Just leave it there.
Yeah. Step 1. Step 2. I was really hoping for a giant fireball, and it's strange because there was fire still in that ball, but it just.
You could see the fire there on the HyperShock.
Yeah.
Coming from the drone.
Yeah. So it was an awesome fight. We managed to drift around them. It turns out drifting is a really good offensive technique because it means that the front end of your robot's more pointed towards your opponent.
Yeah.
So we were actually going around them faster than they could turn because they were having some drive issues, right, Paul?
Sure.
Someone was it Mike that talked to him? They were having some friction, drivetrain traction issues.
Well, I was surprised they didn't try to flip you once. I thought that was going to be their main attack.
Yeah. In hindsight, I was a damn fool for driving over him so many times. And it's a miracle that they didn't go for it. So go figure.
You got some questions too.
Running
a little
ask away.
Would you be able to self-right with the rake?
Yeah. So the rake replaced one of the arms, and we have 2 arms. So one of them could have self-righted us. I've actually tested with the rake. We'll need to put up
you have.
Yeah. We need to put up a video, but it'll actually self-right with the rake.
Great.
Which is pretty awesome.
So season 3, 2 rakes?
No, I like. Honestly, we probably wouldn't have gone with a rake if we only had one lifting arm. If we were like Yeti or even you guys, we probably would have stayed with the wedge and just not worried about him because
too much risk.
It's too risky. In the grand scheme of things, taking care of the drone and worrying about the drone at all is kind of petty
it's kind of ridiculous
stuff, unnecessary.
To that point, did it distract you at all during the match?
No, it did not distract me though. So Tyler Bond is the gentleman who thought of the rake first off. So kudos to Tyler, and he was in charge of the arms. That was his job. So I drive the robot, Alex controls the weapon, and Tyler does the arms and the rake. And I told Tyler, keep it out of my way. I'm not going to even pay attention to the drone. If you see the drone get anywhere near the robot, you smack that damn thing out of the sky, and then I'll deal with it. And you know what?
That's exactly what you did.
Tyler was perfect. He snagged just the corner of it, hit it down, was batting it down. It looked like it he was trying to kill it by like swatting it like a roach, and it was perfect. He did a beautiful job. And he even put it down as like a lance, so we could stiff arm Warrior Clan.
Yeah.
So it luckily wasn't distracting.
How long would it take you to rake a yard?
We really want to have a video of actually raking, like doing some gardening. Maybe
How
put a
fast
hoe
are
on
you?
the other side.
I mean, you're doing full wheel burnouts, like.
Okay, if it's this is like I don't know, a little over a foot wide, maybe a foot and a half. The robot goes 22.5 miles an hour. You guys do the math. Pretty fast.
You have a specific brand of rake you would recommend?
Okay, so I do have the rake.
You have to keep some secrets. Come on.
You know what? I'm feeling generous. It is a 22. It's $12.97 from Home Depot right now. I'll actually post the link to Facebook in a couple minutes.
So are you working on the sponsorship with Home Depot already?
I am not, but if they want to, knock yourself out. Do we have any more questions?
No. Running low on time.
We're running low on time. Anything else? I think we're good.
That's it.
Well, I am totally selfishly, I am so glad that everyone liked the rake. I would love to talk about the rake. We are definitely using it against Poison Arrow because now we have to. And you should go over and tell Vex, Hexapod and BattleBots that we need a HyperShock toy with a little attachable rake. It could even be a $5 accessory. I mean, it would be awesome. But we need it. We need a remote controlled HyperShock toy. I need it. You need it. Everyone needs it with a little rake that goes. And then they can make a dragon drone. It would be awesome.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Check it out on Hulu.
So once again, check out the latest episode on Hulu. Check out the fights that didn't get shown on YouTube. Check everyone's Facebook because there's some really good photos this week.
There are.
And get excited for the toys. I'm going to play with these.
That's what we're doing for the rest of the night.
All right, we're going to play with these. Maybe we'll restream with just playing with toys.
Yeah.
All right, thanks again. This has been Tale of the Tape. We'll see you next week. See you on.